BingX, a trusted global crypto exchange. Trade spot, futures, or copy top traders easily. Sign up via the link or referral code to get 30 USDT instantly, plus up to 1,500 USDT in bonuses for verification, deposit, and trading.
Ministers are forging ahead with significant diplomatic engagements with China, scheduling a series of high-level visits before the year concludes. A move that unfolds amidst considerable controversy stemming from the abrupt collapse of a high-profile espionage trial. Despite the public outcry and intense scrutiny generated by this legal development, plans are firmly in place for key figures within the government to embark on trips to Beijing. Jonathan Powell, the National Security Advisor, is slated to travel to the Chinese capital in November, engaging in crucial discussions that are anticipated to pave the way for an even more significant visit by Keir Starmer sometime next year. Further bolstering this diplomatic push, Bridget Phillipson, the Education Secretary, and Vallance, the Science Minister, are also expected to undertake official business in China before the end of 2023, underscoring a deliberate effort to reset and deepen bilateral relations. However, the ongoing fallout from the abandoned espionage case presents a potential hurdle. The government acknowledges that Powell's November trip could still be subject to postponement or outright cancellation, given his indirect entanglement in the controversy surrounding the dismissal of charges against two individuals accused of spying for Beijing. A government spokesperson articulated the administration's strategy, stating a commitment to a consistent, long-term and strategic approach to managing relations with China, rooted in UK interests, emphasizing that this includes constructive and robust engagement at a variety of levels. The Crown Prosecution Service's decision last month to unexpectedly withdraw charges against Christopher Cash, a former parliamentary researcher, and Christopher Berry, a teacher, has been a focal point of the debate. The CPS cited a lack of sufficient evidence provided by the government to establish that China posed a genuine threat to the national security of the UK. In an attempt to quell accusations of political interference aimed at safeguarding the UK's economic ties with China, Keir Starmer released 3 witness statements submitted by Matthew Collins, a Deputy National Security Advisor, to prosecutors earlier this week. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, in a letter penned to Conservative Party leader Kemi Badenoch, firmly refuted claims that Powell had any role in influencing the evidence that ultimately led to the trial's demise. The Prime Minister clarified that while Powell did attend a meeting concerning the case with senior Whitehall officials in September, these deliberations were based on the working assumption that the case would proceed, which was the desired outcome of the government, and focused on how to handle the implications. This meeting, held on September 1, occurred almost a month after Collins submitted his final witness statement to the CPS on August 4, a detail that underscores the timeline of events. Jonathan Powell's most recent diplomatic foray to Beijing took place in mid-July, where he held discussions with China's top diplomat, Wang Yi. The Chinese government at the time reported that their conversations revolved around the UK's aspiration for a consistent, lasting and mutually respectful relationship. Bridget Phillipson's planned visit later this year is reportedly focused on forging collaborations and dialogues in the realm of education, according to sources briefed on the discussions. Vallance's itinerary, first reported by Politics Home, includes the establishment of a formal, in-person forum dedicated to science, innovation, and technology, a significant undertaking, marking the first such meeting since 2018, with previous engagements having been conducted virtually in 2021. These forthcoming visits represent the latest phase in an escalating pattern of high-level engagement between the United Kingdom and China, a diplomatic overture that has gained momentum since the Labour Party assumed power. While the Rishi Sunak administration had also pursued a comparable strategy, its efforts were reportedly hampered by political instability and resistance from within the Conservative Party's more hawkish factions. Further plans are actively being developed for Keir Starmer to undertake a bilateral visit to China next year, with mid-February emerging as a potential timeframe. The potential for a visit by Donald Trump to China early next year, as he has indicated, could also influence the precise timing of Starmer's engagement, should that trip materialize. The United Kingdom's last prime ministerial visit to China occurred in 2018, under Theresa May's leadership, a period characterized by discussions of a golden era in bilateral relations. In more recent times, Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, traveled to China in January leading a business delegation that secured approximately £600 million in investments. Additionally, Ed Miliband, the Energy Secretary, and Peter Keir, the Trade Secretary, have both made separate visits to China over the past year for substantive talks, mirroring a period where senior Chinese government officials also undertook several visits to the UK. Oliver Robbins, the permanent Secretary of the Foreign Office, most recently journeyed to Beijing, with a portion of his mandate reportedly dedicated to addressing the pressing need for renovations to the British Embassy in Beijing, a refurbishment currently being obstructed by China pending the resolution of its own new embassy project. The government's renewed engagement with China has not been without its critics, who have raised concerns about the potential implications for national security. Earlier this month, reports emerged that China had issued a veiled threat of retaliation should the UK proceed with plans to target elements of its security apparatus under foreign influence regulations, with Chinese officials informing the Foreign Office that such actions would have negative consequences for relations. The unfolding diplomatic dance between the